DJ, MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Ari Melber.
What's happening?
Welcome back.
What's up, my brother?
Great to be back.
You exhausted yet?
Not yet. I feel good. How do you feel?
I feel good, but I know by November, I think we'll all be ready for this to be done. But then it's not done because either we get another term of Trump or a brand new president. So I don't know.
What do you think? You know, what's going on with Biden and everything that's going on? What are your predictions?
Biden is the guy that for a long time you weren't swiping right. You were looking at every other option. This looks better. What about the new thing? What about the other thing? And I think it's a reminder that politics is like life and culture. And sometimes people do come home to the familiar. Mm-hmm. But is the familiar the best thing to go forward?
No.
That's a big question.
So now it's between Biden and Sanders, right? And what we're trying to figure out is, it seems like, and I saw you were talking to voters that were in Harlem, and you were having a discussion about why people are so supportive of Biden right now, and why are people, voting how they're voting, or who do they want to support. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that Sanders could possibly beat Trump, or you think that we're better off looking at Biden?
I think it's really funny that people treat Joe Biden like he would be the more electable. I think he's the more familiar, and there is Barack Obama associations, but there's no transitive property in politics. You know what I mean?
Word. Just because you worked with Barack as his VP doesn't mean that you are Barack Obama.
And if we're going to have real talk, and this is the Breakfast Club,
right?
He was not put on Barack Obama's ticket because of his civil rights record or economic populism.
Say it, Ari.
Well, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying that's not what happened. What happened was Barack Obama broke through, beat the person that was expected to be the nominee that year, along with a lot of other people, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and Chris Dodd and other people that year, older, more well-known senators and such. And then Joe Biden was the establishment figure that was supposed to calm things down.
Right.
And it speaks to Barack Obama's shrewdness as both a transformative leader who also understands how to get people there.
How do I win?
That he said, I need the Joe Biden and the Hillary Clinton. There were, remember how tight the primary was? There were people who didn't like that either, and Barack Obama said no. But it wasn't because of that. In fact, an interesting data point about Joe Biden is South Carolina is the first time he ever won a state after running for president 3 different times in 3 different years. Yeah. So that's wild. Having said that, again, you mentioned voters. We interviewed voters. We hear a lot of people who are excited about various candidates, including Bernie Sanders. But something happened on the way. Something happened where part of the Democratic Party grassroots, including a lot of African-American voters in a lot of different states,
the black voters in the South.
Said, well, you know the South?
Yeah.
Said, wait a minute, we're not sure that we are ready for Bernie Sanders. Whether that means ready, can he beat Trump, or just ready, do you want to pay that tax?
Do you think it was fair?
Do you want to pay that tax? I know you're successful.
I don't have a problem paying the tax if it helps my community. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't have a problem, really helping my community. That's not the problem. The problem is, I think a lot of people felt, who can beat Trump? I feel like Joe Biden has Joe Biden has a better chance of beating Trump than Bernie does.
Why do they think that though? For all the reasons you just said, he up until South Carolina, he didn't even beat Bernie in the primaries, and that's the first time he ever won a primary state. So why, in any of the times he's ran, so why would you think he could beat Trump?
I don't know why people.
Why do people think Joe Biden is the most electable?
I think those are good questions, and I saw you chopping up with Angela Rye about them, and I saw you guys were enjoying each other. Just kidding.
That's my sister.
Do you think
that there.
No, that's my sister.
You think it hurts that
We have a podcast called Sibling Rivalry.
Creative tension.
Yes.
You think that it hurts that Barack Obama still hasn't come forward and supported Joe Biden and endorsed him?
I mean, I think that's fascinating. On the one hand, this is the presidency. You got to go earn it yourself.
Correct.
On the other hand, Joe Biden got everywhere because of Barack Obama. When there were many candidates early, I see it, but Barack Obama laying in the cut when it's just basically Joe Biden, his running mate, Democrat, versus someone who, by his own estimation, and some people like this about Sanders, some people don't, but by his own estimation, against someone who's not even in the party, at a certain point, you got to be like, you want to help a guy out, and you don't have to endorse. Barack Obama, as we all know, could come and do one interview, one radio show, one appearance, and just say it out loud. Things he said before that are positive about Joe Biden. I do think he's being very careful, and you have to remember the Democrats have had their problems before, and they had a lot of problems with the perception of fairness and even playing field last time. So I think Obama's also sensitive to that. Are you really going to help your guy out if it looks like a thumb on the scale?
Now, let me ask you a question. With the coronavirus that's people are so scared about, how does that affect what's going on as far as with the Democrats, with Biden and even Trump?
I think it's a reminder that all the predictions are limited because a prediction is just a forward-looking statement based on things mostly staying the same. So people say turnout will be this, or Trump is likely to win or lose based on that. And then you remember we live more so than ever in a very dynamic, complex universe now, and the world's more interconnected. And sometimes you hear that and you say, what does that even mean? Okay, yada, yada. We can all talk to each other, communication, culture, internet. And then other times you're like, oh, right, the world's really interconnected. So a seemingly potentially small health problem over here can or cannot, but might become a global pandemic, right? And if that affects people's sense of their faith in government or their interest in a quote-unquote disruptor who's so disruptive, he doesn't even hire people for government jobs. Donald Trump's so disruptive, he just doesn't do a lot of the work of being a president, and everyone can make up their own minds about when that works. And there are people who say, oh, government should be smaller. And then during these kind of crises, especially if it gets worse, we'll see people tend to go, wait a minute, I need government. Oh, right, a corporation's not going to necessarily make the best call about when to ground the planes or who to tell to stay out or how we keep safe and how we get informed. And if it rattles the markets, yeah, I think Donald Trump has a good path to re-election in a good economy.
He's probably going to
win. And maybe not in a bad economy. Why do you say that?
Because I think that you're going to be dealing with Russian interference. I think you're going to be dealing with voter suppression. I think you're going to be dealing with voter depression, which to me is the biggest issue. Nobody on the other side is really that inspiring enough to make somebody get up and say, you know what, I'm going to vote for this person. That's why I think Joe Biden would be smart to announce his running mate and announce some of the people he might put in his cabinet. Because I think what's around you is what's going to determine, whether or not people get up to go vote for you.
Do you think that gives people other reasons to vote? Meaning,
yeah.
I'm excited about whether it's a Stacey Abrams,
Senator Harris,
or Warren and Sanders playing an economic role. I mean, younger people are thinking about student debt. They're thinking about the job market, and Joe Biden just has never been about all of that. I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's why when people, I give Joe Biden so much hell for not having a black agenda simply because black people have saved his goddamn life. Let's be clear. Whether it was him being vice president for Barack Obama, Jim Clyburn endorsing him in South Carolina, all the old voters that voted for him on Super Tuesday, he'd be nothing without black people.
Well, there's an old saying, Jesus saved Kanye, but Jim Clyburn saved Joe Biden.
And, I always look at that as one of the most important things I pay attention to is who are the people that surround you, not just the president, but who are you appointing to different positions in your campaign. And I definitely, even with Hillary, I paid a lot of attention to who she had around her. And that's what made me feel more comfortable saying, okay, I can support Hillary Clinton when she was the nominee. And I want to ask you this about Bernie Sanders supporters, right? Because a lot of people have issues with how aggressive Bernie Sanders supporters are and how they're like, it's either Bernie or nothing. What do you think Bernie should do about that? You think that he should, because I think that was a big issue previously, just his supporters not coming out and supporting whoever the nominee is and saying, we're going to sit this out, and also just aggressively attacking people. Even Elizabeth Warren said she had issues with Bernie Sanders supporters. Do you think that he needs to get that together?
I think it's a mix. Are you responsible for everyone who follows you on the gram and shouts you out and then starts beefing with people on your behalf and then goes farther than you want? And how much time and energy do you give to handling that? Political campaigns are complex, and the bigger they get, the more you get a whole mix of people. I do think when you talk about a leader, you want the leader to set the tone and also hold people responsible. There may have been a time earlier where I think Sanders may have come up short on that and should definitely be called on the carpet about that. I think recently, as it got more attention, and frankly, props to Elizabeth Warren and other people for going out of their way to say, no, I'm calling this out. And she was very effective. She didn't win any primary states, so eventually that narrowed her path, but she was effective in other ways. I mean, Mike Bloomberg's $500 million versus Elizabeth Warren just spitting facts, right? So one of the things she did was put that agenda on the table. Having said that, I think Bernie Sanders at the debate and other high-impact forums said, no, I'm calling on people to be civil and trying to address that. I think more broadly, we have to understand, we get so blinkered and narrowed by the personalities. And we live in a culture, as you all know very well, where we're basically constantly agitated to focus on the personality. And the culture and the the mediums we have are richer and more colorful than ever. So we see the personality. And Trump has exploited that and hacked that. But if you take a step back, what has happened that I see in the last 2 consecutive cycles is more people in both parties have been looking for disruptors who aren't even in the party. So they said it was going to hurt Trump, that he's from New York. You guys know Trump from before. He's not a real evangelical Republican. Come on.
He's not even a politician.
Yeah, but the Republican Party looked at all of their options, the Jeb Bushes and Rubios, and this new person, and they went for him. And that's its own thing. And I'm not saying there's any equivalence to Sanders. I think they have totally different agendas. But then look at Bernie Sanders got about 40+% last time and is running second to the guy we just mentioned, Joe Biden. And he's not even in the party. So if you take it together, you go 2 cycles in a row, the vast majority of voting people say, I'm not about these parties. I'm not about these institutions. They are failing. They fail over and over. And so where does this go back to your question? I think it goes to the fact that people voting for a Sanders aren't necessarily feeling that they automatically owe anyone their vote after that, right? So it's the party's got to prove it to them.
That's right, and that's my whole thing. Like, that's why younger voters aren't coming out, because I don't think younger voters care about personality. I think they care about policies. I think they care about ideas. You know what I mean? I think they're voting their interests. And what are they providing? What are the Democrats providing on that side?
Yeah, and I mean, and isn't that crazy? When you look at Bernie Sanders being very old and having the best support among young people, right? Or earlier back in the day, Jon Stewart had a huge following among young people for being kind of a funny truth teller, but he was a lot older. So I don't, people talk about identity politics or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're only supporting the person that actually literally reflects you.
But my fear is if the younger people don't feel like the candidate is speaking to them, do they just not come out? Because that's what we've seen, right? That a lot of younger candidates weren't coming out.
They didn't come out Tuesday. This past Tuesday.
Yeah, I think primaries are hard too because it's too many choices.
Right.
And so people at a certain point go, I don't know, come back to me when it's simpler or when I know who the person is, and I'll make a judgment over whether I think they're a leader.
Right.
Look, the other thing about Trump that is important to remember, if you want to talk about what we know, empirical facts, not predictions, the turnout in the election after Trump, these midterms, was higher than any turnout in a midterm election since women got the right to vote, which is to say, since we've allowed everyone to vote with some exceptions we could talk about and some restrictions, and you mentioned voter suppression, but that's literally the highest midterm turnout ever. So if it continues like that, and Charlemagne raises the questions why maybe it won't, depending on who's inspired, but if it continues like that, that could be a total wave. If people stay home, then you're back where you were.
Do you see a spike in your ratings when you have these rappers on? Because you be having rappers that are like, wow, I can't believe they on MSNBC.
When you say spike, I mean, the type of data we get, which I don't even look at the next day, I wait till I get off the set, so I don't try to think about it too much, but what we get are macro waves. So if you do something really crazy and it craters or crashes, you'll see that, and other times you see things go up. But I don't have like we had Yo Gotti on recently. It's not like I have like a little calculator where it says like Yo Gotti went 3% up or down. I don't know if radio is different.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
You can see every little thing.
Yeah, it's a line. You can see when things go up and things go down.
Sorry,
when
if they don't like you, they just keep going down, and we just gotta say thank you, Ari.
We call that 0 meter money.
Yeah. So, but I think that the craziest thing for me with that is, like when I was in South Carolina, an elderly white gentleman came up to me and was very honest and said, I watch your show. I appreciate the news, the law. I think you're fair. Great. That's nice. Thank you. And then he's like, but I got to tell you, he's like, I was closed-minded. He said for the longest time, he said he thought of rap music as something that didn't have value or intelligence. He thought it was noise. And he goes, watching your show when you started doing it and having people on, I didn't get it. I just put up with it. He goes, and now I realize, he said this, he says, now I realize rap's like country. And it's all about how you're living and how the world works in the story, right? And that might be very obvious, right? But my job's not to judge anyone, really, for the most part. It's like, okay, that's interesting, and he feels the need to say he felt opened up by the show. And so I think to me, it's not just having the rappers on, it's having them on along with a lot of other people and cultural leaders in serious segments in exchange with other people. So,
how do you sell Uncle Murder to your producers? When Ari goes in the room, he says, I want to have Uncle Murder on my show. How do you sell that one?
I say it could be worse. It could be Uncle Double murder.
that is true.
Could be
Plus,
worse.
he has a year-end wrap-up, but that's a great way to discuss all the big topics that happen throughout the year, kind of at the.
The wrap-up is
Yeah.
incredible. I will tell you. So Uncle Murder somewhere. That's not like gateway hip hop. That's deep in
Yeah,
there.
who does the prep work when you have Uncle Murder on there?
Well, we have great on the beat. We have great producers, but that's trying to help people understand where does this fit in. This is a conversation. And by the way, I mean this goes back to who sets the rules, right? And who is allowed to violate the rules. We just talked about Donald Trump and vulgarity, among other things, that the right wing has suddenly decided to put up with, but used to be. I mean, C. Dolores Tucker and Bill O'Reilly used to be lecturing Pac about this stuff.
See, Dolores Tucker was right, though, but continue.
Go on.
Nah, she was right. Everything she said back then was absolutely right. The music was degrading. It was misogynistic. It was sexist. And you know what we told her back then? Shut up, bitch. That's exactly what Pac said. But then fast forward 30, 40 years later, Snoop's on Red Table Talk being chastised for his language.
I think you make a strong point. I'm not sure if he said that or anyone said that that's wrong. But, I mean.
Oh, you don't remember that? Tupac, see Dolores Tucker, you a bitch to me.
He said that, but he also said, see Dolores Tucker, you a swear word that rhymes with it, and you're not trying to help a brother.
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
But I mean, and also I think it depends where the conversation's coming from. By which I mean, are you trying to engage something honestly, or are you using it to politic on it? And my point being, there were certainly other voices on the right that said we can't stand any vulgarity if it comes out of this culture.
Yeah.
And we're going to criticize that, and then all of a sudden Donald Trump comes up and it's all co-signed and it's fine.
I think one is about freedom of speech, right? Like, one is saying, no, we want to silence people. The other is saying, no, your lyrics are actually bad and destructive. Like, I think that's what C. Dolores Tucker was saying.
Right, and I hear that, and we have to listen to that. I also think it just depends on the context, meaning if Eric Clapton does I Shot the Sheriff, and everyone goes, oh, that's an interesting parable, and then a different artist who looks different talks about killing law enforcement, and everyone takes it very seriously.
Like if Guns N' Roses is saying that, then it's okay, but we're just targeting hip hop.
Right. So I mean, this brings us back to the Uncle Murder or Uncle Double Murder question, which is, I have to put it in I have to prove and put in a context that if parts of this are objectionable, how are they to be understood? And how does that relate? And if parts of it are so objectionable they shouldn't be on the air or on the news, we do make those judgments sometimes. But I would argue that a lot of this has been narrowed in ways that when you really unpack it aren't very fair. So we just want to be fair about it.
So with so many guests that's been on your show, who are some of your favorites that stand out that you were surprised?
The Breakfast Club, probably.
Besides us.
Breakfast Club was fire, and that was coming. We had a newsworthy exchange because it was after the Kamala Harris thing,
Correct.
and that was fascinating. I watched that interview, and there were people reacting, and you were talking about it, and then it was like she came on and had a whole agenda, including decriminalizing marijuana and other things nationally, although she has a different record as a prosecutor, yada, yada. And what everyone was upset about was when did you listen to Snoop?
Yeah.
I was like, this world is changing. No, I mean, look, some of the most fascinating people are the ones you'd never expect that you would be talking to. For example, the first person to get a pardon from Donald Trump, very controversial, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, whose policies were literally held by courts to be unlawful, who is famously racially profiling. But he agreed to come on, and so we had that conversation, and that was super interesting. Arpaio's not someone that I'm going to like go to the club with.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even necessarily ask him to do private security, Charlemagne, Sheriff Joe.
Yeah.
But really interesting to talk that out. And what I think sometimes is I would not even get to talk to this person otherwise. You know, obviously creatives and artists. Jeremy Harris, who did Slave Play, came on.
Oh, wow, I saw that. Did you go see it?
I did see that.
I didn't know what was going on at first.
It was very intense.
Yeah, very.
But that's another time where listening to him was very educational. And so that was super interesting. And then it's like people you can't even believe it's happening. Like we had on REM, 50, as you know, who's been through here many times with you guys, I love. And just the conversation is interesting. So I love, and then that's the part of the job where I'm just like, man, this is crazy.
Who are some people on your bucket list that you haven't had that you're like, I got to get this person?
Well, I feel strongly that the Jay-Z thing has to happen, and it's going to take not only you guys, but really everyone at home.
I'm telling you right now, you're going to have to go to Jay-Z. Jay-Z's not coming in that building.
We'll go anywhere.
And that's fine.
That's fine. No,
That's
we'll
fine.
go anywhere. So I think Jay and Kanye both are in such special, rarefied categories. And I guess if you're an interviewer, you always think this, so I'm sure other people feel the same way. But it's like, I feel like if I could really, really talk to them, I feel like we could go somewhere with it. Even though, of course, like they might think, I've had the conversations with all the greats and you're new, so I'm not going to go downhill. Like if you're someone at a certain level, right, they don't necessarily need to come back. And you guys have all done a lot of these conversations.
Interview both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the thing is you're a fan. I'm a fan. You know what I mean? And I think when you have your unique POV fan perspective, you can always take the artist somewhere that they've never been.
Yeah.
But if it's based off your perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's certain songs that probably touched you in different ways. Like, what's your favorite Jay-Z song?
I love Song Cry. I really love a lot of the songs on 444, like as just a different phase of
Me
Jay-Z.
too. Adult contemporary hip-hop.
Love Cashmere Thoughts. I
See what
mean,
I'm
the
saying?
old stuff, you know.
He probably, I mean, I'm sure he hasn't heard that in a while. Cashmere Thoughts, like, wow. I don't even remember Cashmere Thoughts. When was Cashmere Thoughts?
That was on the first album. Second album.
First album, Reasonable Doubt.
First album,
Which
Reasonable
one was
Doubt.
Cashmere Thoughts?
It's Yeah, it's got that bass lick.
I don't remember.
I
But I'm
never,
saying, but
I
that-
never cry. If I did, I cry ice.
Got you. But see, that would start a great conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because think about how many people have probably interviewed him that don't even really know his music, too. You
Well,
know,
that
right?
kills me. Like watching it, and respect to David Letterman, who's
Oh.
a very interesting interviewer.
Yes. That's exactly who I was thinking about.
Yeah.
That was it.
You could play it out a little longer, Envy.
As soon as you hear the first two notes, you know exactly what it is.
Just Envy just giving you just 2 bars.
There's two
Yeah, I didn't
bars.
like the David Letterman interview either because that was like Jay-Z 101, like basic Jay. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, it was, and for
It was
me, it was
uncomfortable.
frustrating because there was so much there, and also if you know Jay a little bit, as you guys actually do, and as I do as a stan, I felt like I could see in his eyes at times, being like, "Okay,
Why
I'm
am I
here. I'm
here?"
gonna have to help get us through this
Yeah.
moment."
Now listen, who's to blame when Brian Williams is on TV with I can't remember the young lady's name right now. What was it? Mara Gay, and a tweet comes in that is so wrong, and the math is all off. Whose fault is that? Is that producer's fault? Is it Brian and Mara's fault? Whose fault is that?
Well, I wasn't there on that show, so you're asking a question about. You're asking a question about like how exactly did that come about, and the short answer is
I
I
wasn't
wasn't
there
there, and
that
I don't
day.
know. No, because it's not my show, and I don't know. You know, I know they, for folks who saw this, you know, they put up a tweet, and then the math is wrong, and they quickly did try to own it and say mistake, correct it, etc.
Not in the moment on TV. In the moment on TV.
On the show, I think they
They
came
did?
back. Not like they came back after a break and
Right.
fixed it.
Oh, nobody
Yeah.
ever sees that.
They just see the viral part and then they
Yeah.
don't see the rest of the show.
Wow.
So I feel you on that. I mean, look, I think in general. So again, like I just wasn't on set. I wasn't on that show. I think in general, a lot of times, if a show is done well, it looks like people are just talking because it shouldn't be too fancy and overly, you know, journalistic every moment. But it also isn't just people talking. And so certain moments, whether it's that, and we've all had them and competitors have had them too, remind everyone, oh, right, yeah, if it wasn't double checked and everyone wasn't prepped and then we didn't take it the right way, what looks like talking can turn into, an error where you're like, oh, millions of people just heard something, we got to fix it.
Do you think people put too much stock in social media? Meaning that
Yes.
Somebody put that tweet out, in your mind, you're like, well, somebody must have took the time to do this math, so I guess it's right.
I think this is one of the interesting things about human psychology. I mean, we're just at the front end of this social media stuff, and it's really in your life, right? Where to decide you're not going to do it at all is, for many people, at least in America and many affluent societies, is an extreme choice. So, and then once you start doing it, it's how do you do it? And how do you respond to the incentives? And how do you respond to this thing where when something is written down and put up, or it looks glossy and colorful, it carries with it deep in our brains an imprint of seeming power, import, or truth even though intellectually you know or should know that it's not. And so was it not Kanye who said, I was looking at the gram and I don't even like likes? Envy? Yes. Think about that. I'm trying to get in a lyric every 5 minutes. You feel me? And so I think even those of us who are literally trained, like it's not everyone else's job to do that, right? But if you're a journalist, you're trained on verify first, 2 source rule, all sorts of things that we try to do, and then yes, you can end up in a situation
Yeah,
where.
but that doesn't matter sometimes, and that's the bad thing about social media. Like you said, is somebody runs with a story. I remember Sean Pecos, who used to work at Rock Nation and right next to Jay-Z, posted something about Jay-Z donating some money, right? And because it was Pecos and he's right-hand man to Jay-Z, worked at Rock Nation at the time, you automatically assume it's true.
Well, Pecos retweeted it.
He retweeted
Yeah,
it.
or reposted
Yeah,
it.
reposted. So you automatically said it was true. We reported it. And then G was like, I don't think that's right. And I'm like, nah, it was Pecos.
I was like, I don't know
Pecos
if that's
said
true.
it.
It's dangerous, man.
It was wrong, but you look at things like that, but it still could be wrong.
Right.
it shows you how-
you do think somebody who works at a company and makes a statement about it that you automatically think, okay, this is coming from a verified source. But sometimes it's...
But that is itself, right? This is part of, I think, what's important, because the more literate we can all be, we have these computers in our pockets, and our children are getting them at younger and younger ages, and as a society, we haven't disentangled this yet. So it's no different than any other heavy machinery. If you really are trained up in how to use it, you're less likely to get hurt. Right? This is intellectual and to some degree spiritual machinery. And so we're not trained up. So what you just said makes sense, right? Oh, well, of course this person would apply this standard. But then when you take a step back, you remember, no, like I have friends where like if we make a plan to meet up at 8 for dinner, they're there because that means something. And then I have other friends where that means 8:30 and other friends where it means up until
They might not show up at all.
7:50, you get the text.
What time do your black friends come when you tell them the time? Just kidding.
DJ Envy, I'm not answering that question. but it means things to different people. And
Right.
so even within journalism, where ideally, part of the reason we've lost some trust is how we have conducted ourselves through big stories and generally in the media. And so if you work in the press like I do, and I come out of other industries, so maybe I'm less sentimental about, it's always perfect. I'm more like, I came into this, I'm going to try to do it well, whatever. But some people have that standard and some people don't. And so then you have to remind yourself of that. And we all need to know that because people look at things, and this goes right back to our political conversation. People see a thing and they go, well, I saw it, so it's got to be true.
Right.
Yeah,
You go, hold up, think about that.
Yeah, I was telling somebody yesterday, I was telling my homeboy, we was talking about, what it would take for some of these candidates to win. And he was talking about, it just needs to be more diversity of thought. And I said, actually, it needs to be more diversity of optics because people see change more than they actually hear it. And I peeped that too when I was watching the Hillary doc. Remember, Hillary gets into the weeds with things when she's talking about her certain policies and certain plans. Meanwhile, Sanders is just out there saying, free healthcare, free college. And people buy into that. So to me, it's just about diversity of optics more so than diversity of thought, because you could lose people with your diversity of thought.
Absolutely. And we're also talking about storytelling. So as people consume information differently and live their lives differently, you want to come back at them with the way you used to pitch things 20 or 40 years ago. It's not going to work.
What do you think went wrong with Bloomberg? He spent so much money
What went right with Bloomberg?
for him to even get to the point that he got to? Or, I'm just curious because he spent $500 million on his campaign and he picked up some steam and then lost it all and found out that he was not a contender. But people did think that he had some potential early on.
I think the potential he had was all on paper theoretical. In fact, Bloomberg and Trump are similar, where if you come out of New York and you've been exposed over the years, you have a different idea than that halo. There's some halo that comes around New York and the rest of the country where it's like Giuliani, America's mayor, and you're like, well, if you were here,
You would know
you
that.
have a different view.
Right.
He did clean up New York, though, right?
Yeah, not the right way though, but he did.
What's the right way to clean it up?
I mean, he cleaned it up. He was pretty racist with it. He pushed black businesses out. He closed a lot of businesses. He did a lot of redlining.
People talk a lot about 42nd Street and Times Square.
42nd Street is totally different because of him. I mean, you could say it's a good thing, but he definitely took a lot of our businesses out. He took a lot of the Africans off the street that was selling things. That he did a lot that hurt our community, but he did a lot to help the city as well.
Yeah,
Black people are always the sacrificial lamb, though, in those situations.
Well, and I mean, in Bloomberg, you guys talk about this table. I had his campaign manager on, and this was before any of the debates or anything had come out, and we spent most of the time in the interview on that with Kevin Sheekey.
Right.
And I played a video, for example, of a young African-American kid from Brooklyn who told the New York Times that he wasn't stopped 5 or 10 or 15 times. He was stopped 60 times without ever having done anything wrong. And the statistics we went over showed that, as you all know, the statistics is just one version of it, but there were years where Bloomberg stop and frisk stopped more black people than there were black
people.
men in New York. I mean, that is right, and didn't work because over 9 out of 10 weren't even literally booked on anything, let alone what you're entitled to, a jury verdict, right?
And you could end up going to jail for a little bit of weed in your pocket.
Right.
That, white people walking around with weed in their pocket all the time, and they're not getting stopped and frisked. So
2 things
100%.
can be true, though, right? Like, you can have all of that racist legislation stop and frisk, but then moving forward, you can also have the Greenwood Initiative, which I thought was a great black agenda. Because it's the same thing with Joe Biden, right? 86 crack laws, 94 crime bill, ruined black communities, but he's the most electable candidate that black people run out to vote for.
But what did you think about that Greenwood Initiative? You think it was doable?
First of all, I can't wait for Joe Biden to come through here, right?
He's never
not
coming.
If he did the Shade Room, he's got to come here, no?
Ari, you make a good point.
I mean, was that not?
Shade Room was a little bit more controlled, I think.
I think, and that's another mistake, I mean, with all the candidates. I mean, when the idea is, you're going to hide who you are. You're not going to confront anyone.
Right.
Don't you get more respect at least for having the hard
Honesty.
conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Angelique said something just now, though. She said, how did you know that it was doable? How do you know any of these things these candidates are talking about are doable? You say, Bernie Sanders say, I'm going to get rid of student loan debt. Okay. I'm going to give you free health care. Okay. I'm going to give you free college. All of it sounds good.
Sounds great.
Right, and Elizabeth Warren had the most policies, I guess, that she had actual plans laid out. But we do hear a lot of, this is the plan, we're going to do this, and it sounds great, but potentially, what are the odds that it can happen? Like Bloomberg has said, he's still going to continue with his plans that he had when he was running for president, even now after with whoever he supports. Do we think that these, like, I haven't looked, I looked at the Greenwood Initiative, but I'm like, okay, can this happen?
Absolutely.
I think that's fair. I mean, one thought is affordability or the budget is a neutral sounding thing that is often used more against ideas that are progressive or that advance something for marginalized communities or that try to make things more equal. So the Iraq War was very expensive, and it lasted basically like forever, and expensive in every way, monetarily and obviously brave men and women who've gone over there and gotten hurt and killed, and all the Iraqis who've gotten killed. But at a big picture level, did anyone stop and say, we can't afford this? Or was it a thing that just got pushed through, right?
Got pushed through, yeah.
And so if you say, the bailout, right? People were told, kind of economic gun to your head, we got to give these banks the money back. Otherwise, everything's going to go to hell. And there are economists who know more about it than I do who said, well, yeah, at a certain point, there might have been a reason to backstop, although the way they did it was very Wall Street friendly, yada, yada. A lot of things get done, right? So I do think you have to be very skeptical when it's like, there was a lot of talk about deficits while Obama was president, even as he rescued the auto industry, did Wall Street reform, did healthcare reform, and began to shrink the deficit over the course of the second term. And you don't hear any Republicans talking about deficits right now, right? So is it affordable? Really, it goes back to,
Where do we want to spend the money?
do you want to do it or not?
Right.
Now, when you get out to the upper end of, free college for everyone or Medicare for all is not just an affordability question to Charlemagne's premise. It's also, what does it look like to rewire a whole healthcare industry, right? It'd be like if someone came in and said, private radio, that's been good, that's been interesting, but now we're doing, Bernie's president, we're doing all government radio. So y'all can reapply for new government radio jobs that pay a lot less, or you can go do something else. Right, and you're like, well, when did this? Right, that's a big change. And in America, there are a lot of people who are skeptical of that. So I do think some of the things that Sanders is talking about are like harder, but I don't think that we should always just default to listening to people say, oh, that thing that would help people, you can't afford that, but we can afford the bailout and the war. And
But
the
not
other
even
stuff.
just that, but are they going to, we look at what's going on in the Senate and everything that people try to pass, it doesn't go through. So you can have these great ideas and things that you want to make happen and a plan to make it happen, but will it get stopped?
Right, and it's also a question of whether you have a candidate and an idea or whether you have a movement behind it. Because I do think movement politics can change the composition. I mean, the composition of Congress does change relatively quickly, right? The wave election in 2018 that I mentioned put more women in, made it the most diverse Congress we've ever had. You do that a couple cycles over. You guys had AOC in here recently. Like, that's a whole different thing. Then suddenly it might look different. But no, I don't think you get the change overnight.
So who are you endorsing?
Nobody's
Let's
asked.
get right
to it. Roddy Ricch is probably the hottest. New
The
thing.
hottest, okay.
Word.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
For heat, just at a straight heat level.
Out of the new Generation Z, he probably
Is
leader.
it Z? Are we calling it Z?
I think he's
now?
Z.
Yeah.
He's the leader of the new school for Generation Z.
So you going with Roddy Ricch?
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys
It's a good
something.
one.
Yes.
why are these songs getting so short?
I was just talking about that.
Because people's attention spans
Yeah,
are
they say
short.
their attention spans are a lot
And if
shorter.
you're screaming, you want people to keep rewinding it back and forth. Like you get more screams that way. If you got a 2-minute, 20-second
Is that
song,
it? You get the extra
Yeah, you
streams?
need at least a minute 30 for BDS to count, so it counts as a spin. And then
Albums
if you
are
do 2 minutes,
shorter,
like you
songs-
said, just bring it back.
And by the way, all of our tastes are like that. I was listening to Lil Baby album. I was like, when is this going to end? It's good, but it's 20 songs. I don't want 20 songs of Lil Baby.
All right, so how much credit do you get if it's like a dance hall DJ and they restart it every, like the first start of the song 15 seconds?
Only
you get
one.
credit for that?
No, minute 30. That's all you get.
Minute
you need
30.
a minute 30. 15 seconds, you'll get no credit.
Okay.
Why, you putting out an album?
No, just doing my research.
Oh, my
Just
God.
doing my research.
Well, Ari, we appreciate you for joining us
Yes,
today.
always appreciate
And let us
it.
know when we coming back on your show.
Anytime we'll get you back in. I'm gonna put out Real Talk to YouTube. It's so VIP. It's hard to schedule the Breakfast Club because you end up doing 3 different scheduling
Right.
conversations.
You got us on Valentine's Day last year.
and that was hot.
Oh,
was
yeah,
that not hot?
Valentine's Day.
My
It was
wife
very
was a little
hot.
mad. My wife was like, "Why are you doing an interview on Valentine's Day? Like this guy Ari Melber, he just really wants to see his baby."
Well, it shows my love for the Breakfast Club, and that's when Angela He taught me not to call it. Remember this? Don't call it a necklace. We call it a chain.
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
And he had on a necklace.
I had a chain on.
He has on a necklace right now.
Ari Melber.
Number one show at late night, you know what it is?
That's right, you trash bags. It's nothing but illustrious guest. Tonight we have a very smart man, Ari Melber, who is the host of MSNBC's The Beat with Ari Melber. If you got your own name in your show, that means you pop it.
Let's pop it. Ari, come up to the table. Thank you for
What's going on?
begging for you to be on the show for a while. So
Is that right?
there's a synergy here.
Well, you ain't too proud to beg.
Hey, see? He does. This is what he does. He has these interviews on MSNBC with very important heads of state.
Yeah.
He throws a lyric.
He's throwing a little hip hop
How
in there.
do you pick the lyric to the guest? Do you pick something they might know, or do you try to throw the most esoteric lyric at them? Like,
I don't think I try to be esoteric, but it's not for them.
Right.
And that's actually true in general in journalism, right? Like you have somebody on, you might want to get information from them, but you're
Right.
not there to make them happy.
so it's just for you or for the listeners or the viewers, excuse me?
I mean, I know when I see the show, I'm like, yo, that's what
That's how you do it. I'm on Twitter like, you got that reference for Ari? Yeah.
I think it's for, Edward R. Mero once said, we do it for the streets.
I remember that.
I don't know, I don't,
I was there when he said that.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
Lincoln
It
College
took a
commercial.
while to pull off a Newport like,
Yo,
yo,
let me tell y'all something.
the streets is where the news happens.
yeah, I don't know. I think if people get it, that's great. And if people don't get it, we're still in the information business. So sometimes the information is about the news, and sometimes the information is about the context you bring.
Right.
Actually, it's kind of funny because nobody ever says, like, if you go, oh, this is like the 9th inning of this story. Nobody's like, what do you mean by that?
Right.
Like, what are you trying to say?
Right.
Because people use a baseball reference, right? But a lot of other people use a music reference. So.
You gotten, I mean, this is pretty remarkable. You are an MSNBC reporter, and you got into a beef over rap. Chelsea Handler kind of G-checked you. Was like, are you using too many lyrics? You gonna drop a verse back at her? Or no?
Chelsea Handler,
Who's winning that rap battle?
where do you want me to start with this?
Seattle shooter.
Rah, 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 smack.
I mean-
Yeah, we're gonna do this smack DVD battle with fucking
go.
Ari and Chelsea Handler. Let's go.
This is, first of all, much love for what she's doing, because I think she's trying to be a part of the political conversation, the policy conversation.
Right.
Number 2, like, maybe she and 50 need to just get back together and talk about it.
Right.
And leave me out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is she feeling some type of way about me quoting rap? What does that have to do with her? That's my question.
Let them know, Ari.
And I'm not saying it in a negative way, because I don't seek beef.
Right.
But why is that? I don't.
But when it comes to your doorstep, you're
I
ready.
just, and I just want to be clear, if they, when they do the headlines, like you guys know, because people care what you guys say. You say something very normal, right? Like you're like, oh man, they were out of coffee this morning at the corner Williamsburg shop, and I'm tired, and they'll just say like Desus just shreds the local coffee shop and destroy it, and it's like, well, I didn't say that, and that happens a lot in our business.
No, that's what we're hoping to happen with this interview. We're gonna be like, Ari,
Eviscerates Chelsea Handler.
That's what I'm saying. So I really, no beef with her. I'm just wondering, though. I guess it's a question for her.
Right.
It's like, why do you have a feeling about
Why
this?
you feeling this
Yeah, because I believe, I don't remember exactly. Just kidding. I memorized it and no, she said something to the effect of, are you quoting rap too much?
I saw that.
Right. And so I think the answer is you can't quote rap too
You
much.
can't. It's the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like Ebro says.
Let's look at some of your best hits. Yeah.
What we see detailed throughout here is how much evidence Bob Mueller has, including foreign, what appears to be foreign intelligence evidence,
and you don't even know
evidence, the cooperating evidence he has. And so it reminds me, if I may, of the rapper Rick Ross, who has a line where he says, "Shoebox, no shoes in it." And the implication is there's drugs in the shoebox. And I think the implication here, and I will point specifically to page 33, is a list of accounts that are empty, suspiciously so.
Lawrence O'Donnell was like, I don't. Who's Rick Ross?
Like, who's Rick Ross? What?
Rick Ross, did he play baseball? I don't.
No, I mean, you want to know the backstory? When I get off the set, Lawrence O'Donnell, who's a friend and a mentor, he says to me, like, I was surprised you quoted 9-piece. I was expecting more of a dead president's thing. So that took me by surprise.
There you go.
So we surprise each other.
Lawrence was into the deep cuts like that.
Larry O.D.
How'd you go from being a lawyer, and a very good one it seems, to being on TV?
Gradually.
Gradually?
I mean, basically, I would come on as a guest, come on as an expert or whatnot, then come on as a guest host. They started using me. And then when they made some changes, they changed a show at night, which created a vacancy, so they changed someone from the show on the weekend to there, and then they changed someone else to fill the weekend show. And that third domino was, we need someone, and that's when they grabbed me. So it really was not about me, it was about other things they needed.
Nice, nice. Now, I saw this episode too. You have Fat Joe, BX in the house. You had him on a couple of times. You had him and Bill Crystal on, which was a...
Nice lineup.
That's a very
Look at Fat
interesting,
Joe. Yo, Ari, let me tell you something,
Also,
Ari.
not many of your guests-
My brother, let me tell you something, Ari. You gotta move to Jersey, brother.
Also, not many of your guests come on wearing sunglasses.
Word, shut the joke.
Fat Joe, you happy to be back with Bill?
Man, I'm happy to be back with Bill. I feel like we made history the first time.
It was huge. It was a moment, you know. We need to do this in person sometime. That will be when
Bill,
when.
Hey, Bill, we say that you was lit. We call it lit.
I
L-I-T.
appreciate that.
I appreciate being
I appreciate
lit.
that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace, Joseph.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Lars Joe.
Does he, when he said I appreciate that, did he sound like he didn't know whether he
Yeah,
was
no idea.
He's like, I appreciate that?
There was a good band. I mean, they had one song, but that was about it.
You're an Emmy-winning journalist. How do we win an Emmy? What do we got to do?
We gotta win an Emmy, dog. We got you on. We had Kirsten Gillibrand.
Gillibrand, I saw that you had Gillibrand on.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to get Obama, Barry, holla at us. You know what I mean? Is that what we gotta do?
Why do you want it? Let me ask it back. Why do you want an Emmy?
To impress my mother-in-law.
Okay.
Same thing.
Which is a good reason.
I don't have a mother-in-law, but just to impress people,
Yeah.
have it. Maybe put on a chain.
Trophies. You're talking about trophies.
I'll walk around with it. I'll bring it to Passover Seder and put it in the table, like right there in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
I think an Emmy comes from the combination of people think you did the story right, and it's a big story, and you need both.
Right.
So I was very excited to be I was a part of a team of coverage for the marriage equality decision. So I was in front of the Supreme Court, I was covering that. So they thought we did the story well, that's great, but also, let's be real, like, that's not there was a case, something happened. That's a
big deal.
Big deal once in a lifetime. And that was an interesting case to cover because you had, you had basically a conservative Supreme Court, Republican appointee, likening that ruling to Brown v. Board and Loving v. Virginia, and basically saying letting these people marry because they're people is as important as when we ruled to end anti-miscegenation laws. So it was like one of those stories where you're like, wow, like I'm in front of the court, I'm part of this. This is so much bigger than journalism. We're just, as you know, like
changing the course of history.
I was gonna say we're just the filter.
You can flex up. This is the flex up. You can flex.
But like the big things happening behind you, and usually when you cover the Supreme Court on a day like that, it's like, okay, what was the ruling? What's it say? Quote from it, move on. We reported the news of the ruling, and spontaneously people were rushing the front of the court.
Yeah.
People were singing, and then you're standing out there and you're reporting it, and you're just like, this is bigger than anything. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is, where's the bear? Yeah, it's behind me. I'm saying like, this is bigger than your bear.
Okay.
Oh,
some things are bigger than the bear. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, well, not today because you know what I'm saying. You got the flag. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful though.
On most days, yeah, it's much bigger than that.
All right, you broke, what was it, the Trump-Comey? You were one of the first reporters to realize there could be possible obstruction between James Comey and Donald Trump. When you saw that, were you like, ooh, I got one right here, or was it more troubling?
Did you immediately think like, yo, Comey is not the homie? Like, I'm gonna lead with that?
I thought that was one of those days because the president does different things, but he also says a lot of things that he wants to be things that aren't things.
Right.
And part of our job is to be like, as you were just saying when I walked in, oh, he tweeted all caps, witch hunt. Get out with your all caps. I mean,
Right.
are you texting a friend? Right? Like, he's this close to starting to use emojis on Twitter.
If he-
It's happening.
Once he
You know what I
started
mean?
threading the tweets, I was like, oh, he's scary.
And so we're going to reach a point sometime where you're going to be watching the news, probably not that long from now, and they're going to be like, the president made a threat to Adam Schiff and added 2 bomb emojis. And this is serious, right? And or air horns.
Air horns or something.
Air horns.
Poop emojis, a lot of poop emojis.
And
Drop your
so,
location.
and so part of our job is to figure out when that's just noise and treat it as noise.
Right.
The day he fired Jim Comey, we were like running to the newsroom. Brian Williams came with special coverage. I started reaching out to people in the, that are in law enforcement, and it was a former FBI official who basically got back to me and said, this could be obstruction, right? And so I felt the combination of what I know about the law and how significant it is to remove an FBI director while there's an ongoing case, plus I have a source saying this could be obstruction, and they're close to Comey, and I don't think they would just say it. That's when I reported on air that day. There are people in law enforcement looking at this as potential obstruction.
Right.
We know that all that together, the firing of Comey in such a dumb way, combined with announcing that Russia was on his mind, led to Rod Rosenstein appointing the special counsel, who then opened the inquiry into obstruction.
Is this all just Trump deflecting from the P tape? You know what I'm saying?
If there is a P tape.
If there is a P tape. You don't think there is?
There's a
I think
P
it
tape.
might just be like, some made up stuff. That's all another thing.
Do you remember the 1984, the Reagan ad with the bear?
I was 10 months old.
Do you remember that? It's a good ad.
There is a bear in the woods. For some people, the bear is easy to see. Others don't see it at all. Some people say the bear is tame.
Is this Reagan doing a voiceover?
Others say it's vicious and dangerous.
I was like, God damn,
Since
Reagan.
no one can really be sure who's right, isn't it smart to be as strong as the bear? If there is a bear.
Why is my man just standing there?
Oh!
If there is a bear.
If there's a bear. The bear's
So,
right there.
so you said, is the voice Reagan?
It sounded
No, the voice is you, because you're like, if there is a P
there
tape.
is a-
If there is a P tape.
there is.
You're saying there was a P tape like there is a P tape.
I mean, I feel like there is.
You feel like there is, and that ad sets it up, and there's a lot of discussion right now as if there is. The truth is, journalistically, we have zero evidence of the tape.
Okay.
But even if there was at this point, would it even make a
Does it
difference?
even matter?
Like, if the world saw Donald Trump getting peed on or peeing on somebody, would that, I think that would, how long was that saying in
To
the
be
news cycle?
now, to be clear, the allegation in the dossier is not even either of those things. It's
a bed
It's
that-
the allegation, which is unverified, but which is newsworthy because of everything that's happened around it. Involves other people.
Oh,
not
yes,
him.
that's right.
Would it make a difference? Well, this is the I mean, again, I hate to be all like Mr. Reporter on it, but it's not about the tape.
Right.
What would make a difference is if there is compromise, which we do know that Putin uses, and we do know his crown prosecutor, Yuri Chaika, uses it. He has used sexual compromise against opponents in Russia. We do know that. And we do know Yuri Chaika is linked to the people who were reaching out to Donald Trump when he had the meeting at Nobu Moscow. We do know that.
Right.
Oh, they got a Nobu in Moscow?
Yeah, you're sleeping on that.
What's up, man?
Yeah. So if there is compromise being used on the head of a country, that's a huge deal.
Right.
But that's not proven. So part of my job is to definitely be like, that's not proven at all.
Right.
Can't wait to see the headline of this section.
So it has to be something
the
that's
show.
concrete, legal wrongdoing. Like, he can't, is there anything else that you think he can do that would make people be like, yo, this guy's too much?
Are you talking legally or politically?
Like, in any way. Like, if he did a State of the Union and ate a fucking puppy's head live on TV, would people stop?
Everybody would be like, there's too many puppies to begin with.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a cultural thing.
Is it a cultural thing?
He could be like, hey, they do it in other countries.
They
why
do
we
it,
not do
yeah.
it?
I was in Thailand last summer, it was lit.
Look, legally, things matter. We're living in a period where people are trying to tell you things don't matter. The people who are telling you that are people who want things not to matter. Things do matter, so legally they're backstops.
But
yes.
the people telling us that are the people doing stuff, and there's no repercussions for it. Like, I kind of feel like if, say, they were like, yo, Trump, you have to leave the presidency, he might just be like, no.
No, I'm good.
He's not leaving the White House.
Well, so you're raising the most profound question, which I think people are talking about out loud more, which is the notion of a constitutional crisis.
Right.
What happens when the head of a government who has to faithfully execute the laws, that's what it says in the Constitution, won't do it and will defy the laws. And we had that once with Nixon. The difference between Nixon and Trump, Nixon was a crook, but he was also an institutionalist. So even though he did these bad things, at the end of the day, he actually seemed to respond to the institution. We don't know legally if Donald Trump is a crook. We know that last week, the guy who was number 2 in his campaign is a crook because he pled guilty. And we know his national security advisor is a crook because he pled guilty. And we know that his campaign chair that was number 1, Paul Manafort, has 32 counts. I mean,
he's guilty as hell.
That's not Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. Those are felonies, right?
That's Schmurda level.
Yeah, more time. He would be, that's one way to put it. If convicted, right, Paul Manafort would be serving much more time than Bobby Schmurda.
Yeah, would he?
You know?
They say he'd probably die in jail? Would it be?
He would, I mean, now you're asking me how long is he gonna live? I don't have that kind of information.
I mean, as a lawyer, like, be honest.
Right?
He comes up to you like, hey, Ari, you get me off these charges, what I'm looking at here.
I mean, I'm like, you need to get, what do they call it, an actuary?
Oh, wow.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Nobody knows.
Oh, that's the insurance person that figures out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought it was like where you put birds and shit, like for them to fly around.
An atriary?
That's an aviary. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a koi pond and an aviary for my crib and shit, so I'm just like, it's on my brain.
Yeah, it's on your brain.
Are we on two different pay grades? Like, you get koi ponds? Are you looking broken for the Ari? Ari, got a controversial question for you. Who's your favorite rapper?
All time or right now?
All time. And right now. You got two.
What does Ari throw on every morning to get hype?
When you working out with no shirt, just doing deadlifts, checking the ratings.
For me, I would say probably Macklemore, maybe Mac Miller.
The Mac Miller?
Don't sleep on Bubba Sparks. No, I'm kidding. I'm playing. I'm playing.
I was waiting for you to stop.
I was like, Bubba Sparks.
I'm blank.
Please don't say haystack next.
So all-time Jay-Z for me.
Okay.
And I understand everyone's like, oh, of course, or whatever. But like, there's that thing that it's like MJ. It's like you get to a point where people don't even want to give credit for being the best. And because I listen to lyrics, lyrically, the layers and the depth, it's Jay-Z.
Triple entendres, don't even ask him how.
Yeah. You know what I'm like that, see? Appreciate that. No Tekashi 6ix9ine? Not here with the blicky.
Blicky, I said, Ari, blicky that. You know that?
I mean, you're trying to go like an Onyx level now. Again,
get the reference.
Yeah.
I like this.
You were probably a DOS effects guy, and then you had to like distance yourself from it.
There was too many syllables. It was too multi-syllable.
Like at first you were like, this is gonna be the next thing, and then you just backed away.
I was like, I'm miggity Mero. And they were like, nah, that's not cool,
nobody's doing that.
No miggity
Also, the dreads were not.
Yeah, they weren't coming in right.
Yeah. And then right now it's hard, like, because I don't think anyone is at the level of the greats right now. But I do like Drake.
Shut the Drizzy.
Maybe unpopular. I like the new Rick Ross album.
Really?
I did. I know nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, no, Rick Ross.
I liked Future Super Slimy, but I can't say Future's my favorite rapper because respect. Is it? I'm just looking around.
That camera.
Which camera is it?
Camera, all of them, I guess.
Respect to everyone, but every Future song is the same song.
Except March Madness.
Yeah, that should be the national
Except March Madness, Ari. Don't.
Okay, except March Madness. Okay.
Thank you.
So for me, it's right, and I feel like we're in a space in hip hop right now where if you're talking about a contemporary rapper, to use the term that everyone uses, there's no one that anyone gets like that excited about right now. It's become more cool to talk about why people aren't there.
Okay.
So that's it. What about you?
Oh, probably all-time favorite Jay-Z. I'm really feeling Drake right now. He's got some messages.
I feel like Drake can't miss, man. Like I feel like everything he puts out is pretty good. Like I've never heard this Drake song and been like, damn, this is.
He has a formula perfected. Yeah. It works.
That's right, but then the problem is, are you too good because you're formulaic? Exactly. But even recently, so God's Plan is incredible. Diplomatic Immunity is fine.
It's like the
It's
lyric.
okay. It was like you couldn't.
B-side.
But he couldn't put out. It's not like I never understood. Like, why wouldn't you put out one awesome song? Like, I got this awesome song, and then the other one that everyone's gonna be like, that's that other song.
That's another shit.
Yeah.
It's true. Did you ever want to be a rapper?
No.
No? But you were raised, the whole time you've been alive, rap has been a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was Drake who said, "I can tell you're not a rapper." And that's certainly anything anyone could tell about me. No, I never.
No
there's no
because you see
talent or quality. There's just fandom, and fandom is its own thing. But I'm just a fan.
But you have a respect for the lyrics. Like you
Yes,
don't.
yes, I do.
You know, so you never ventured, never wanted to ghostwrite for them. Hit Diddy with
Ghostwrite.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that. What I have is just being a fan.
Okay.
Which is it.
I was just saying because the streets asked me to ask you, so.
That's what they asked.
That's what they asked
Yo,
me.
ask Ari what his favorite diplomatic immunity volume was. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 and 2.
But I did go. So I went to Garfield High School.
Shout out to Garfield High School.
In Seattle, in the Central District. So that's where Quincy Jones went. That's where Jimi Hendrix went. So in that environment, it's like it's definitely around and everyone's talking about it. But yeah, no, that's just as a fan.
Cool. Respect that. All right, last we're gonna play you some songs. You have to. Nah, we're kidding. What would you like your rainbow to say?
We're doing that right now.
Right now.
I'd love for my rainbow to say, "Do it look like I'm left off bad and bougie?"
I remember in the building.
But the answer is, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
That's what it looked like.
I was gonna say, what you say?
Yo, the Beat with Ari Melber at 6 p.m. on MSNBC live tweeting with me. Yeah.
Ari Melber's on with Ebro, Laura Rosenberg. Welcome back to the program. Listen, the show's been going on for so long. I was on so long ago. You've been successful for so long. How am I supposed to remember this?
That's fair. Thank you, man. Thank you. We hit the milestone. The average amount of time that shows have been on MSNBC at 6 p.m. is 9 months.
Oh, wow.
You know, people think, oh, you get on TV, just like they might think that about radio. In fact, you guys have been doing this. You've established yourself for so long. You know what it takes. And so we just hit that milestone in September, and we're thrilled, and it's our team, and I'm proud of them, and we're just gonna keep going. But it's also a credit to like everyone who's been able to come through. You guys, artists, musicians, activists, writers, politicians. I think they've made the show stronger.
Who was the previous longest run in the 6 o'clock history?
Yeah, who'd you beat?
Shout out to Al Sharpton, who went for about 4 years and about 1,000 shows. But you know, one of the things about the news is there are different pockets, different hours. 6 is hard for cable news because you're up against all the nightly networks.
Yep.
And shout out to the competitors. You know, Wolf Blitzer is on at CNN at 6, and he's been doing it like over a decade, so people know him. So for us to be able to stay on, and it is, you know, it is what it is. It's a competition. We've really been audience CNN at 6 or any hour of CNN now. So the beat, some people know the beat from certain things, but big picture, a lot of people know the beat because we're like where people are coming for news right now. We don't take that for granted, but.
Listen, I'll be honest. I don't even remember the era BW. That's before Wolf. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that era was. He's been on for so long. What is BW? What happened before Wolf Blitzer?
His emergence was the Gulf War. So you'd be going back. Wolf became big during the Gulf War.
There
so
you go.
You'd be going pre-92.
Hey, yo, shout to Wolf. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Wolf.
I mean, that guy is...
Do you realize he's a family friend my whole life? So to me, he was just my dad's friend with the weird name.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden...
So his real name is Wolf Blitzer?
Yeah, his name's always been Wolf Blitzer. And when
shout out to his parents.
And when I was 13, all of a sudden, I was like, why?
And how do you think Ari Melber feels right now that we're interviewing him and talking about his competition?
Yeah, but he's bodying. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to 6 o'clock, if I'm watching a news show, I'm watching my guy Ari.
I mean, facts. Now, Ari,
I'll tell you what. I didn't even realize that's when Wolf was on. That's when the Situation Room's on. Nah, I'm watching the beat, fam. I'm watching the beat.
Ari, I watch you so much that I can tell the nights that you were hanging out with Fat Joe or 50 Cent the night before.
Can you?
I can.
How can you tell, bro?
The fact that you haven't shaven, and I know you had a glass of tequila the night before. Sometimes I look at your facial hair, I'm like, yo, he's hanging out with a rapper last night. Didn't get that shave this morning.
Yo,
wait, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Ari, has there ever been a time, okay, in your show's history where you quoted, you know, a lyric and you effed it up?
That's a great question.
So it's a great question. That's a great question.
Sometimes I paraphrase, so people are like, "Did you get that wrong?" I was like, "No, I said to paraphrase whomever." I had a long pause once. I remember the bar actually because it was something about why the Grammys are historically racist and off base a lot of the time, and yet people covet, awards in many fields. And so, and you all have talked about that and interviewed artists about that. And so I was going for the J bar. We looked up to Billboard because we was young, and then I paused to finish it, and then I was like, that weird thing you guys do live, right? When you do live, sometimes I just
brain fart,
and then I paused for a long time, and then in the interview, people are like just waiting because no one else is gonna help.
You don't have an assistant with a big board that has the line?
Yeah, don't you have the thing in your ear? Nobody came with the rest of the quote? Like, what's going on with your team?
I landed on, now we look at Billboard like, is you dumb? But it had taken so long that I could just feel in the moment everyone being not like hearing what I said, but just being like, all right, he finished it.
Otherwise, you would have had to just like quietly see yourself out. Nothing else to do. Now,
sometimes you just got to fold and be like, yo, I botched that one.
Well, by the way,
we're live. I botched it.
I saw a story this week about the person running MSNBC and trying to take a different approach for the network as a whole. Can you fill us in on anything that you're able to tell us about MSNBC and like what their plan is to try to? Oh, that's what it was. It was a controversy, guys, because they said MSNBC is like trying to go heads up against CNN and beat them, and people thinking this may not be a good idea. Can you take us through anything you know, Ari?
I think you're talking about, there was a pretty lengthy article in the New York Post about it, and so it was about sort of the news direction. I think like everything you see in media and online, you got to bring a little bit of skepticism because the New York Post
is the New York Post.
Once you said the New York Post, I tuned out. Actually, I just want you to
right. I mean, it's a context, and just for people who maybe aren't as into it as you guys are, or as I might be, the New York Post is part of the competition because they are aligned with the company that runs Fox News. So there's always a little bit of that. Having said that, like I'm always open to talking about what part of it might be valid. They were talking about Rashida Jones. The other Rashida Jones,
right?
Who is our new president. I've known her over a decade. She's
the Post was coming after a black woman?
Producer. She also is the first black woman to run a TV news company in America. Shout out to her. But the part of it that I think Rosenberg's asking about that might be valid is she's put a big emphasis on making sure that MSNBC is competitive in every way. And in the numbers, sometimes those evening shows, I'm on at 6, Rachel's our leader at 9. Sometimes those evening shows do great, and there's been a question about how competitive is MSNBC with the hard news during the day, as they put it, and she wants us to be competitive across the board. I think it was partly about that, but yeah, we obviously want to, like any news organization, be up on every part of what people need to get when they are looking for the news.
Switching to more of the news talk with you, away from the shenanigans and celebrating you for just being amazing and our friend. Let's talk about the current administration, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and the guffaws or bad polling or, Afghanistan and the vaccine and vaccine hesitancy and the midterms. Does all of this stuff lining up, and the fact that the infrastructure bill is not getting done and the Voting Rights Act is not getting done, and it looks like police reform is not going to get done, with all of these things lining up, and obviously Republicans are doing it going into the midterms, making it even harder because they want to win seats and make Biden and his team and any other Democrat look bad. Is it lining up to be really hard for the Democrats at the midterms?
Probably. You just ran through a bunch of the issues, and there's even more than that. I think Biden had a very good start objectively, in the sense that he pivoted off this tough time. They went further on the pandemic, and they got stimulus spending. All of those were the hot button priority issues. And he also benefited, just as he did in the election, not from necessarily being everyone's first choice, but being not Trump. If anyone's ever been in a toxic situation, toxic job, toxic relationship, once you get out, there can be a relief. And then whatever's new, you're like, well, this at least isn't my old job. This at least in the old relationship. And depending on the person, that halo can be a honeymoon of a few months, could even be a year. I don't think for most people, and I don't think for the American electorate, it's 2, 4, 8 years, because you say, okay, we don't have that. What do we have now? And you see that, by the way, what I'm saying is rooted in the approval. Joe Biden still has higher approval now, which includes independents and some conservatives, than Donald Trump ever had his whole 4 years.
That's great context.
Right? That's actually wild if you think about it, because it's not like everybody loved Joe Biden to begin with.
No, and it's been a rough couple of months.
Party, and there's been problems, and it's still higher than Trump ever was. So that just sort of reminds you of that. Having said that, to the points you made, Ebro, I mean, there is a real question about whether he can do more than the emergency stuff. So the pandemic and the stimulus felt like that, and we're talking right now in a week where they're trying to get everybody back together to do some real spending. I think if he's able to do that, there will be a bounce off that, but there's a debate over that. You mentioned police reform. This has been already a huge failure. We've covered it on the B. We were covering this before the talks broke down within the last few weeks, because 6 months ago, the message coming out of the Democrats and the Biden administration was, well, we need to work with Republicans for a few months to see where we can get on police reform. And I showed on my program, Republicans are saying in public that reforming the legal immunity the police use is off the table. Well, every civil rights leader that we've had on the beat that we talked to says that's essential. That's part of why this stuff keeps recurring.
That's right.
Among other reasons.
That's right.
And structural
Qualified
racism.
immunity is it, B. That's it.
So why would you spend that much time on that? I was saying on my program to my viewers, if you already know that that's their line, then sure enough, the talks fall apart. This was an issue not only in 2020, obviously, where it got more attention, but this is an issue in the base and the working class support of the Democratic Party and minority communities and other people who care about these issues who may or may not be minorities. This is a huge issue. So how are you going to come in year one and just drop it completely? And you haven't heard the president come out and lead on that because he's focused on the stimulus stuff. So I think they're juggling a lot. And yes, I think the midterms could be tough politically.
Speaking of the vaccine, and we were talking on our show about all of this sucks, right? Is kind of what I've been saying, which is a virus that's killing hundreds of thousands of people sucks. Our handling of that sucks. Wearing masks sucks. Lining up to get a vaccine. I don't know anybody that gets in line for a shot in their arm and is like, woohoo, let's go, right? Like it all was challenging. It all sucked. It was all bad. And now we're at the point where people specifically in New York City where we live, there's people who are going to lose their jobs and have already been furloughed or going to lose their jobs, whether you work in healthcare or whether you work in public schools or other industries that, even have something to do with the city. It's happening at the state. And with Biden saying, look, if you have a corporation that has over more than 100 employees, the expectation is there's going to be vaccines or people are going to get one shot a week. Federal employees, it's pretty much you got to get the vaccine. All of this is drawing some hard lines. Do you see this, and Rosenberg has articulated this, do you see this being a hot button voting issue?
I mean,
forthcoming.
And specifically, Ari, my concern is that if this is handled the wrong way and we as Democrats who are pro-vax continue to crush people on this issue, it becomes a one-issue voter situation where there are a lot of people who might actually vote red if they think that is the vaccine choice party. Is that a risk?
So I think it's a very, very fair question, important question. I think there's two things going on. There's what do most people actually think, and then there's passion. And this is the same in music. You could have an artist that has broad general awareness, and then you have an artist that has real passionate fans, all the real hip hop that Rosenberg's been supporting, all the real lyricists, right?
Purists,
and
the core.
The pure, the street. But I'm not joking. If you actually look at the numbers, take Florida, which leans more right, has a Republican MAGA governor and all of its drama. The majority of people in Florida still support mask mandates. So broadly, people have gotten the science that this stuff generally works, even though, as you put it eloquently, Ebro, it sucks. And likewise, there's broad support for not only the vaccine, but vaccine mandates, which of course are more controversial because anytime anyone, your employer or the government, tries to make you do something, that goes to our sense of freedom and liberty. And there's a long American debate about that, and that's older than this era and Trump. So broadly, I think where Biden is actually where most people are. But the passion, there's a lot of passion.
The loud minority is...
There's a lot of passion for don't tell me what to do. And then you add in something that trips up a lot of Democrats and liberals, even if they may be holding on to a certain good idea, which is condescension, snobbery, acting like you have it figured out better than anyone else. At the same time, it is a brand new problem, right? It's
and nobody has it figured out.
2 years.
Nobody has it completely figured out.
So that's why, like, on my program, I make sure, like, make up your own mind about what to do with your health, your body, your community. We do a lot of evidence and facts. So if you're trying to make up your mind and it's based on something that 20 years ago would have been written on a bathroom stall, you know, this and that about Joey, and by the way, the vaccine is a Bill Gates tracking device. Well, it's not true. And the fact that instead of being on a bathroom stall, it's on Facebook doesn't make it any more credible. I don't recommend you use that to make up your mind. But if you get all the science and you decide to make your decision, it's not my job as a news anchor, and that's my credibility with my audience to tell you what to do. And so then if you have, I think to your point, or maybe Rosenberg's point, people condescending and trying to act like there's only one way, and if you didn't figure it out, you're
Well,
dumb.
you know what it is, Ari?
Yeah, that could backlash.
Right, and do you notice, just like on a personal level, Ari Melber, the human being, I think that you and I, while you are much more knowledgeable, we line up on a lot of political, socio-political issues.
You say he's not much more?
No, I said he is much more.
I was about to say.
Even when I try to do the right thing, you have to
I heard it wrong.
Yeah,
man.
you did. So,
all right,
so
focus.
we socio-politically, we line up quite a bit. And I have just found myself recently sort of annoyed and grossed out, frankly, by my fellow progressives that their only way they see vaccine hesitant people is that they're selfish. They are, for lack of a better word, they're assholes. They don't care about anyone. To me, painting such a huge group, 83% of black folks in New York are not vaccinated. Painting that big a group with that broad a brush to me is incredibly not only dangerous, but it's just, frankly, it's just disappointing to see people who I generally align with politically talking that way. What do you think?
I think it's a very fair point. You're also, in essence, Rosenberg, you're talking about empathy. So when you reach a situation where you might even strongly disagree with someone, do you have empathy with them for not? Now, if they're a white supremacist, MAGA insurrectionist,
right,
they may have burned up all their empathy, and for that reason, you say, double no. But someone else where you say, can I understand where they're coming from? Do I understand the information they're using? Do I understand their fear or their emotional reasons? Do you have any empathy for that or not? And I think what you're referring to is something that happens generally in politics, because there's a lot of research, even before the internet era, that people who get intense about politics can spend time with other people who have the same views, and their views actually harden. And that happens on the left and the right. And that happens in this room and that room. And so I'm not making moral equivalency, because hardening one view might be different than hardening the rampant violent racism that we're dealing with in our politics right now. But yeah, I think hardening that way and then condescending to and having no empathy for people is wrong. And I also think the COVID wars, what I call it, turned something that didn't used to be all that partisan into a partisan filter. And again, we know a lot about how that works, which is people stop listening to things through the filter. So 5 years ago, if someone did not get a flu shot, I don't know that the same people that are wiling out would make as big a deal about it and say you're being selfish. But at a lesser level, but a non-zero level, people who chose not to get a flu shot and ran all around the city and got near, if you're out in Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights and you end up near a senior center, past the flu, elderly people do get the flu and die. It's not COVID. But did we have that same energy? Or has this become partisan because Trump made so much noise that now people feel extra about it?
That's what Ebro said today on the show.
Not a great read.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
I haven't heard the show yet.
Yeah, we just
shout out to the show.
Yeah, we just talked about that this morning, and I gave us all.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Because people are losing jobs, dying, trying to figure it out. It's a situation where science doesn't even have it figured out. Doctors are figuring it out. Everybody's figuring it out real time, and it became a partisan thing from the gate. Even, with Kamala and a lot of Democrats saying they weren't going to get the vax if Trump rolled it out because they felt like it was too rushed and it wasn't researched well enough. And if he were to roll it out when he's president, they weren't going to do it. And then people ran with that for the Republican side once the Democrats were in there. And then now it's you have people, like you said, hardened their stance on it because it became, picking football teams, red or blue.
Yeah,
and it's not, and this isn't a political conversation for me. This is a science health conversation, which I hate when that gets politicized. Just like I hate when homelessness gets politicized, and I hate when making sure kids have food and people have food in their fridge gets like those are human issues for me. And so it's frustrating, but we always fall into that in this American social experiment.
Another issue we're very divided on in this country, and I think it's a problem, is an issue that we don't need to be divided on because they're unrelated issues, and that is Certified Lover Boy, and Donda.
I knew you were going to go there.
And, well, I have to, because when I go on Ari's show, the level of trolling he does. I went on his show 2 months ago. Whatever, 2 months ago? Yeah, it was 2 months ago or so.
Yeah. The new album.
My album. I was a little. Ari was kind enough to let me come on, promote the album, etc. Because I really want to make sure that liberal Jews, I want my parents to go out and turn around and cop real late. So Ari's a gentleman and have me on the show.
Hey, Ari's audience is hip hop fans. It's probably really focused on the demographic that you serve in making that album.
That is
people who want that kind of core, gritty,
street level music.
Yeah, hearkening to the '90s style hip hop.
I'm just trolling Ari slightly back. So whenever I go on the show, all he talks to me about is Drake. Ebro. He ran video. He ran the video of that time at SOBs when Kanye walked in the Drake interview. He ran that video and just asked me Drake questions.
That elevator. Shout out to young Rosenberg. That elevator video is hard. If anyone's hearing this, you can go find it on YouTube. You have a young Drake sipping hot tea in an elevator, and then a Kanye coming out. And in today's lights, and then we love this in hip hop and journalism. It's just why the clip from that Kanye Netflix documentary is exciting. Like the young Mos Def and Kanye, that interview elevator moment is hard. And tell me if I'm wrong, all three of you experts, that moment couldn't happen today. You could not have that moment, right? Where Drake comes out of the elevator.
Rosenberg is not invited anywhere where Drake is. B, Drake and Kanye would not be in the same building together if they can help it. And so, yeah, you're right.
And Laura, and then Peter also, Laura recently called Peter a Drake stan, or hater and stan.
Yeah.
Hater stan is like a special country. So
take it a step further. I think Rosenberg wrote a Stan letter.
It was a joke. I didn't actually write a letter.
I mean, you did a whole bit on your podcast.
Right.
Calling yourself.
Admitting that it seems like I'm a little obsessive. What is the deal? Now, I'm not obsessive the way Ari's obsessed with Drake. Ari loves, Ari, you
Ari,
love
do you
Drake.
DM Drake and ask him how come you're not DMing me back?
No, but I do love Drake. But I think that Rosenberg's relationship is deeper and more personal than mine. And in that, it comes from his proximity being a hip-hop journalist and hip-hop radio figure for many years. So it's personal, it's more layered, and that I think makes it more interesting. To me as a hip-hop fan, I'm interested when I see Laura and Rosenberg and Ebro talk to people over the years, or I was watching your guys' interview with Tyler, the Creator, and just the epistemology of that interests me. So that's me as a fan. Having said that, Rosenberg, that also makes your relationship more Stan adjacent than mine because mine's not personal.
Well done.
Good point.
Now, while we have you, you listen to a lot of music. You have a show on Apple Music.
Wait, were we going to finish the? But before we go there, Rosenberg, are we going CLBV Donda? Is that?
Yeah. Well, listen, I know you care. I know it's an issue that separates a lot of people, and while it's unnecessary, what album do you find yourself going back to more, Donda or CLB?
CLB, and I believe CLB will grow and gestate like Views as an album that was initially seen as, yes, it's Drake, and so of course it does all the pop success of Drake,
There's some great material on there, man.
Not as embraced initially, and then over time becomes another classic in the canon. It is sonically.
Oh, you calling
really
Drake?
Consistent.
Ari Melber calls Drake "Certified Lover Boy" a classic.
A gestating classic.
A gestating classic.
It'll get there. It'll get there. You're saying.
And you're saying Views is there for you.
For me, I think Views is there. Tell me what you guys think. Has Views not aged so well and has so many bangers on it and global hits that now I think it's seen in a different light than it was when it came out?
I think the trouble that hip hop fans have, like your purist fans have with giving Drake a classic album through the hip hop lens, is there are so many records that aren't quintessential hip hop records. Like he's got singing records, he's got Caribbean sounding records, he's got, UK rap, you know what I mean? He's got all of these different energies where he's not even rapping. So a lot of people in hip hop have a hard time putting the word classic next to a Drake album. But a lot of people usually point to Take Care, not Views. Drake fans point to Views. Drake fans point to several Drake albums. But they, I think the kind of that because there's just different types of music on it that are not rap. It's hard for some people to give Drake that classic.
It's an interesting thing. There's like two conversations. There's the just stating, if you will, the time it takes to realize that an album's a classic. And then there's the like albums that had a moment where culturally everyone was on board. Like, oh my God, this is a moment. We're having it right now. And it has happened. I would argue it happened to some degree with the last J. Cole album. It certainly happened with multiple Kendrick albums, where culturally everyone said, yup, it's happening right now. And I feel like with Drake fans, the thing that's interesting is when I go, what's the Drake classic? If I ask 5 Drake fans, everyone gives me a different answer. And I find that to be fascinating versus if you ask Wu-Tang fans, what's the classic? They go, Enter the Wu-Tang, Only Built for Cuban Links, Supreme Clientele. They know the ones. No one jumps in and goes, Inspector Deck, Uncontrolled Substance. That's not what they do. So I always find the Drake conversation interesting because culturally it hasn't quite been decided
I think
on.
that, but at the same time, that's what makes Drake phenomenal and an enigma,
Yes.
and in many ways changing the game is the fact that he has served so many different audiences very well and does a great job at it.
I think you're both making the important point, and Rosenberg's right. I mean, we live in a time of such abundance and speed for so many things. Content and culture and music, and you get it, you listen to it, you listen twice, now you're dismissing it, you just got it. We don't have the time. That's why I made the point about the marination, the gestation. But also, to Rosenberg's point, we live in a time of such abundance that people literally go, that album was too long. This album had too many songs. I'm like, who are you? Like,
oh, that is us. We say that all the time.
Yeah, that's it. Who are you? It's me.
And me.
The artist made this amazing thing, and if you like a bunch of it, you're getting the ratio you want, and you go pick it because we live in streaming.
Right.
And by the way, so Drake is one of the best musical cultural buffet chefs ever, which is different than just getting one dish. And some people might beat him at just that one dish and keep giving it to you. But who goes to an amazing, 4 Seasons buffet on the beach and then says, too many choices is buffet? I don't even like crab.
Well, first of all, an amazing buffet wouldn't have too many choices. It would have the right amount of choices at 4 Seasons. I've been to the 4 Seasons buffet. They have the right amount of choices. And Drake usually has the right amount of choices, which is why Drake is great. Drake doesn't, his album, I mean, he might do 4 too many in my opinion, but it's not 30 too many. I mean, there's albums that people come out
right
that it's like,
listen, Certified Lover Boy is
35 songs.
Is like 10 minutes shorter than Donda. And Donda got crushed for being too long.
Because it was too many bad choices. Not too many choices. People always say it's too much when there's bad ones. Not when it's good ones, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. The Drake choices, none of them are bad. It's just, to Ari's point, there's a bunch that I'm not interested in.
That's right.
They're not for me. I'm not getting the crab at the buffet.
That's right.
I want to get the hamburger and the French fries.
And what was the Scorpion album? I thought that one side he could have got completely get rid of it. Like the more hip-hop side for me was phenomenal. And if that would have been the album, I guarantee you hip-hop would have called that a classic.
Here's the hard question. We all know Drake his melodies are incredible. He's one of the great melody guys in music, people in music.
Yeah.
Is he reluctant to just make that 13-song hip-hop album?
Yeah, because you're putting him in a box.
No, but you could, by the way, to Ari's point, though, 2 months later, he could drop the R&B one. But if he wants to get in the game of review my hip-hop album, I want this to stand with the other hip-hop albums, I wonder why he hasn't done that.
Because he'd be doing what people are pressuring him to do instead of what he wants to do.
Is that what he wants to do, or is he kind of scared of getting
I don't
put
think
up
he's scared.
Next
I don't think it's fear.
Yeah, I don't think it's fear either.
Couldn't be. I couldn't. I'm not, unless he tells me that, I'm not buying that. And he won't tell me that because he doesn't talk to me. So I don't know if we'll ever hear. But I think it's 100% you'd be putting him in a box.
Ari, what do you think?
We don't always know with certain artists or people how much they're thinking about it the way we might, because we actually don't have enough information about their kind of cultural diet. Or people say Kendrick put his phone down for however long. And by the way, I have a theory about that, you guys, which is like, okay, they say Kendrick just stayed off his phone for like 6 months while he's in this period of creative time. but Baby Keem won't stop talking about having 2 phones.
It's very confusing.
It's one of those. It's
one
of
those
phones.
phones
It's Kendrick's
Kendrick.
phone.
Well said.
I'm just putting that out there.
Might be.
I'm just putting that out there.
But at least Kendrick didn't lie to us. If Baby Keem has his phone, Kendrick put it down and his cousin picked it up.
That's it.
There you go. Respect. So I'm just putting that out there as the question for the streets. But with regard to Drake, we do know enough about him and the kind of way he lives and how conversant he is with culture and what's hot on the internet. You guys, I think, were talking recently about him, like donning the jersey is something that was dropped 2 days before. That was like a specialized, bespoke
Netflix
thing you
show,
couldn't get your hands on. Yeah, Netflix. We know enough about him to say that I think to the points you guys are raising, we know that he is hyper aware of his own position in the game and how things will be interpreted. So when he does tracks like Laugh Now, Cry Later, when he knows he has an album cooking, and he has such a fine-tuned sense of how they would play and play more broadly at events and clubs than other stuff, and make sure to drop that and not put it on the album, and then have other songs go to the top when he drops Scary Hours and has those 3 songs all go top 3, meaning any one of them would have been number 1 if he didn't drop them at the same time, and one of them is a 6-minute freestyle with Rick Ross, and that's not on the new project. To me, those are all deliberate flexes. They're industry flexes to say, I'll be on the top of the charts when I don't have the project, and I don't need the radio single that y'all used to have, and then my song with Thames and my Right Said Fred remix will be the thing. Like, anything will be the single. That to me is like a procedural flex that most artists can't even think through.
See, but I think that's a really interesting point. But I think it works to actually my argument that he wants to have the battle. And I'm not knocking this, by the way. Do whatever strategy you want. I think he wants to get the wins where he knows he can get them, and he doesn't want to set himself up. He's not going to take. I don't think Drake's the guy who's taking the fight where there's a good chance he could get knocked out. And by the way, when I say good chance to get knocked out, I just mean it's tough to drop. If you want to jump next to Cuban Links, that's tough.
I agree with you, but Peter, did Sun Tzu not say the true warrior only fights battles he's already won?
Thank you, Ari, and this is why you're here.
Ari Melber, check him out, 6 o'clock, MSNBC. Before you go, Ari, is Certified Lover Boy your album of the year, though, so far? And if not, what is?
Honestly, from my heart, Melodic Blue is my album so far this year.
Baby Keem.
Because of the energy and the freshness and seeing a young artist who's capturing a lot of this really new, evolving, and sometimes emotional sound, but with more of the lyrics that I connect to.
No, he gets to him. Baby Keem gets to him.
That's what speaks to me.
Yeah, he gets to him.
is dope and underrated, which is a crazy thing to say, but actually true.
There it is. Ari Melber.
Ari.
Thank you for coming by the program.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Love you
on
guys.
all your success, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you soon.
Bye, Ari.
Peace, bro.
Stay out the club, man. Shave. You know what I mean? All this coming in at 3 a.m. Knock it off.
Hey, it's Ari and 50. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.